Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. A little late video today guys. Been a busy day for me, but anyways, just wanted to get this recap out and today's teachings out. Was a solid day. Market plays were choppy, but news plays were certainly a lot of winners today. So we have to discuss a few of them. So before I do that, a quick introduction. I'm gonna be fast on introduction today. Anybody who's new to my channel, new to my YouTube, new to my Twitter, these are my recaps of my trades that I take or the trades I do not take, but the trades that I guide my community and I teach them all day on the guidance and anything that I tweet, any swing plays, anything. So I try to recap those in these videos and we try to see how did we execute, right? So how did we execute? We execute every day repeatable setups, repeatable system. We have a fixed system. I follow it. People in the community are free to follow anything they want, but mostly under my guidance I make sure we are following a good repeatable system. We trade with the trend. We try to avoid against the trend. We stick strictly with what our system is telling us. That's why we have high consistency, high winners, bigger winners, smaller losers, right? You can see my recaps from last 6-7 months. You will see a continuity, consistency in all the trades there. So every day, a few hours before the market open, my team gets up quite early. We go through all the pre-market movers. I share the pre-market movers 1, pre-market movers 2. I share the pre-market movers 3. I try to share everything from the pre-market so that we can go through, analyze what's happening in the market, in the pre-market, and we look at analyst upgrades, downgrades. We look at a hot list of the plays which are better. So after I've done that, I create what we call it my news plays, rips news plays every day with the guidance, with the support pivot, resistance pivot. The pivots mean that once they are broken, the price moves into that direction. Using it together with Ripster EMA Clouds, we trade, we follow our game plan. Game plan was on spot today, especially for the big plays like BYND BIDU, TGX, AMBA, FSLR, Apple, among others. So we will talk about them, we will discuss them. Not only that, I share some more stuff as well, something we call as day 2, day 3 setups. Today VKTX and CLH, U, Zoom were decent day 2s. And then I also share what we call as a daily levels. So the daily levels are the levels for the market players: Apple, AMD, Nvidia, Big 7, SPY, QQQ, IWM, those indices, the stocks which we play every day. Sometimes they are choppy, but these levels helps us decide how can we trade them. We can trade them long, short, or we want to avoid them. So based upon these levels and the cloud system, we do play them. So that's how we do it. So that was our game plan for the today, and let's start with a recap. First play of the day. So the first play I'm going to discuss is BYND. BYND was the main play for us today. Was the first play, it was the big winner, but there was a lot of patience involved in this play, which I will show you. If a lot of times these kind of traders become impatient or take losses, while just a little bit patience and managing your setups will give you good rewards. So let's go see what was the plan on BYND. The plan on BYND was straightforward. BYND was, they were just doing some cost cut measures, but earnings were not that great. They were bad. Fundamentally, it was bad. It's a high short interest rate. Sorry, not interest rate. High short interest stock. So it's highly shorted. So a lot of traders trying to squeeze it. Shorts are there. It trades a lot of volume. Anyways, the support pivot was 11.20. The resistance pivot was 13.10. I told everyone there's a gap fill under 13 or under 11, or if it rejects 13. If it holds 11 and the clouds, then maybe we can long scalp it. Otherwise, we will short it. With that game plan, we were ready. We were ready with that game plan. As soon as the market opens, I see the weakness, I say short half size. And then I see the rejection, I say double size. I double size my short. And my first target is $10. We hit that $10 and we try to bounce again towards 11.50, which is a resistance. So people are panicking, but that's where you hold and here where you add. If you see that there's this resistance, this pre-market resistance becomes pre-market support becomes a resistance. So you short the first move, we shorted the first move, the bounces, we shorted it again. So for a time it was holding this level. That's when I closed for profit, and then I was rewatching it. Then it again dumped. Then when it dumped again, then I added again, because when finally this 1170 level was broken, that was it. You can see the uptrend line breaking down, and we were in it short again. And it was all about having some patience in this trade. See my guidance, right? I was on the voice all day. I was guiding on BYND, right? We added right at open. You can see my timestamped alert here, 9:31, and then I added full size after 5 minutes, right? In first 20 minutes I was almost more than dollar and a half up. I was making really good profit in this trade. It was up and down, but it never got back over our resistance pivot. It never got back. So this is something that you have to focus on, right? You short the resistance. You do not short the dips. You short the resistance. There was a lot of there was all day there was a trade here in BYND. Whenever it was bouncing off this 1170 support, going into resistance, and this is exactly the level that we were talking about. Look at this pre-market level. Support, now becomes resistance. It could never get over the Ripster EMA clouds. It could never get over the 512s or 3450. And guess what? I told everybody we can swing it. So I told everybody, if you can see here, that we will it's gonna fade. We swing it under 10 bucks. It's going to go back where it came from. So I'm still swinging some puts. Once 10 was broken, it was going to go back right where it came from. So look at this, my comment that I made, that when it will slowly fade where it came from, we can swing the puts, rest of the puts under 10. So it's going to be very profitable tomorrow. You can see my all day guidance here, and you can also see my comments on the trading floor. BYND trade was all about patience today, all about patience. The 11 puts went really nicely there as well. They are going to open tomorrow really strong, under 10 psychological level. Tomorrow I'm expecting it to fill the gap to 8 bucks. So this trade should teach you to be patient, right? Because when it's such a highly shorted stock, it's a cult stock, there's a lot of volume, a lot of market makers. Everybody is trying to short it, right? You are not alone. Everybody is trying to short it. Guess what? When everybody is trying to short it, it's not going to fade like that. A lot of shorts gave up. They gave up, and that's why it was holding up. And then finally, when everybody is giving up, finally it's failing. The sellers are selling, and finally it's going away, and the shorts are not covering anymore. That's when it fades. So that's when the patience pays. So I had price alerts on BYND all day. You can see that, and this was the concept that I was explaining to everyone, that you see here, support becomes resistance. So you can short it all day into this 1140, and then you can cover into the support. When finally the support gave up, that was it guys. So great trade BYND. I had a full size on this. I really made a good profit on BYND today. Very proud of this execution. There few people were not really patient in the community today on this one, but most of them were patient and they did really good. So very proud of that fact. BYND, beautiful trade, A+ short, high conviction, double size, needed some patience. Well done. All right guys, next one we're going to look at is LMND. I'm going to try to go a little fast today. I'm running late. All right, so what was the plan on LMND? Let's go back, look at plan on LMND. The plan on LMND was simple. Support pivot was 1665, resistance was 19, bearish to neutral. Daily was okay, daily was not really something crazy. But anyways, as soon as I saw the weakness, the pivot that I mentioned in pre-market breaks, that's when I said short scalps. As per the news play, watch the pivots. And that's it, guys. You short it. 15, 1550 were two targets. We did not meet our 15 target, but we did meet our 1550 target. That was not a bad short, $1.50, even if you're risking 50 cents. It was one risk to three reward trade. Tomorrow we watch it for day 2 fades, for day 2 shorts. Beautiful winner. This was only the share short for me. Love the setup, love the earning season. Beautiful setups, guys. All right, guys, the next one for us was BIDU. BIDU was another one of our main play, guys. Let's go back into pre-market. planning. Let's see what was our planning on Baidu. Baidu reported worse than expected revenue. The support was 111.10 and resistance was 113.20. Only long if 110 area holds, bearish under it. I clearly told everybody this is the plan. You only long if 110 area holds, bearish under it. If you followed the plan, you made a big bucks today. Right at open it flushed, right at open it flushed. And it kind of flushed already. So what that did was my stops kind of were little further away. My stops were like $2 further away, but it was still heavy. I didn't see any signs of it bouncing. So I had to risk that $2. I had to take that risk, or I had to take 109 risk to you do a starter short, right? Because then I know it has room to 106, and that's what it did. It faded to 106, and then once 106 confirmed, I said you can scale in. Look at here what I'm saying. Confirming the short, you can scale in. And if we hold the short and 104.50, I was my first target. We met the first 104.50. We met the first target. Then my next target was 103.30. Oh, sorry, my next target was 102. We did not meet it today. We'll probably meet it tomorrow. I left some runners in case. So we'll see what happens. When I say runners is when, let's say I'm short shares, I take profits on those shares, then I buy some puts using their profits. Those are runners for me. Or if I have 20 contract puts and I take 5 off, 15 off, and then I leave just 3 or 4 contracts, that means I'm leaving the runners. So that is the concept, because either they go to zero or we grow our profit a little bit more. So so that's the plan. So Baidu, again, beautiful trade, all day fade, good one for us. All right guys, let's look at FSLR. So FSLR, I mean, for me there it was mainly the midday trade that was kind of really nice. So let's just look at FSLR. What was my okay, let's look at FSLR. So let's see what was my plan on FSLR. Let's go in the pre-market sheet and look at our plan for FSLR. Our plan on FSLR was what we were trying to do on FSLR was the support pivot was 150, 152 psychological level. Resistance pivot was 157. I told everybody that 152 does not hold. We will be a gap fill. If it's all 150, 152, we can long it, right? So anyways, the morning long, I was not the part of it because I was busy with other trades. But I told everyone, if you're longing the morning longs over this 152, use the support, use the stops at 154.50, right? So use those stops. It tried to break out, it failed breakout. There was a failed breakout and pulled right back. And if you remember, PANW did the same thing yesterday. I do not like these candles. I do not like when it gives all up. I do not like these candles. I told everybody, cautious. If it breaks the cloud, cut your longs, because money saved is money made, guys. Money saved is money made. So we did cut, and then I told everybody we can short it. It's a short setup. We were short on FSLR. Whole community was short, so we were short, right? And then under the 152s, I gave the 147 first targets, and we met 147, and it bounced again to resistance and again met 147, right? Yeah, I mean, I was short 10 cents, but by end of the day, I even got more than that. But we were probably out by that. We actually did this curl. I did tell everybody to play this curl. When it was curling over 149, you can have your stops right here on this candle, and it curled nicely. Even if you got 149.50s, you got a $1 push there. And that's when I said, move your stops, break even. Okay, moves your stops, break even. And then it flushed. I told everybody, just get out, right? So anyways, the morning long, midday fade. This was the main trade. Midday fade, almost $5 short, and then reversal, scalp for $1. All right guys, the next one we're going to look at is AMBA. So what was the plan on AMBA? Let's go to our pre-market note sheet and let's look at our plan on AMBA. Our plan on AMBA was clear. It was AI growth. They were showing some artificial intelligence growth, so it was gapping up. I was bullish to neutral in the pre-market, but that doesn't mean I changed my bias. And my level was 62.50 for the bias, and then other level was resist was 65. So as soon as it breaks that 62.50, you see that break of 62.50, and that's where I turn bearish, right? And I told everybody it's filling the gap. it is going to fill the gap. Do not chase the pops. Do not chase, but you can add the pops. Either you are already in, be with the news plays, you are focusing on AMBA, but it will fill the gap. Even if when I told it the AMBA was still, you know, let's go back to 2 minutes, I can show you where AMBA was. So AMBA was, AMBA was 60, it was a 62, 60s. You could easily put like 70-80 cents to dollar short and short it. And look at what AMBA did. So AMBA faded all day from 62s all the way to 56. There was a $6 short on AMBA. And somebody wanted to buy the gap fill. I clearly told him, do not buy. And he saved a lot of money, and he thanked me later, because we do not do that. You know, money saved is money made, guys. Remember that. So you do not want to have B minus C minus setup. And you know, if he had bought here, yeah, so Suresh was trying to buy here. He asked me, Rip, if I can buy here at 59, 60s, it's filling the gap. I strictly told him don't. And the stock faded another $3 from there, and he saved a lot of money. So you know, that's why I'm proud of, you know, our system, our guidance, where, you know, I tell my students, my traders, so you know, building good habits. So this is a great example of building good habits. AMBA, beautiful, all day, nice winner. Even if you were late, you chased, you still made good money. All right, guys, the next one we're going to look at is SAM. So what was SAM doing? Let's quickly check on SAM. SAM was bearish. I already told in the pre-market. Let's look at our pre-market plan. What was our plan on SAM? So plan on the SAM was pretty straightforward, bearish to neutral to short. And I told everyone, when we can trade lottos, if it stays heavy, check the pre-market plan. I already told everybody that SAM could could fade to 300. I told them on the voice that SAM could fade to 300, and it's right in front of you, right? SAM breaks pre-market lows. You know, they try to hold 310, 315. Once 315 is gone, that's it. And I was on voice talking about it. Once 315 is gone, and that's it. You know, SAM was faded to 300. That was a $10 short on SAM. Let's look at AXON. So AXON, guys, was it was a A+ daily chart, right? So that's why the shorts on these A+ daily charts are very problematic. You don't really get them, right? So let's go back, look at my pre-market plan. So my pre-market plan on AXON was simple: bullish to neutral for long, daily is really bullish. So that was my plan. So my plan was to long, and resistance pivot was 284, support pivot was 279. So when it was breaking the 279, my initial move was to short it, right? So to short that, and when it reclaimed the pivot and we get out, just like you yesterday. So you get out, you know, you don't stay short. It's a bullish chart. So you take the loss, get out, and then it breaks our upper side pivot. You see that 284, you long it. You know, you long it, you put your stops at 280, $4 short. Your first target is always the 300 psychological pre-market highs, and then 300 psychological level. You know, I even tweeted about this setup, and a lot of people did really good in AXON, and you know, it was beautiful move today. It was on my trade idea scanner quite earlier. These are the setups I love. You know, I could not position too much in it because I was busy in BYND, so I had to, you know, just took some scalps. But these are the trades which if you saw my YouTube recaps or part of my webinars or watch my recaps or my teachings from years, you understand how this setup is A+. All-time highs, great earnings, no resistance, no investor has reason to sell, and there's nothing too high, guys. It went to $18 from 284 pivots. You know, even if you added 100 shares there, you know, you made 2,000 shares by 3 or 4. You sold some there, then even then you made another 1,000. You could have made just $3,000 just with 100 shares on this trade. So A+ setup. So that's why, you know, you have to follow the guidance. Sometimes I'm busy. If you're in a community, I'm sometimes busy with other plays, but follow the guidance and take the trade. Know the system, take the trade. Right here, you know, short was a loser. Then what? It was $5 loser, but the winner was, you know, like 30 bucks. So you have to watch that, right? All All right, let's quickly recap ARM. So ARM today for me, it was just a short all day. I was just short on it. It was showing me relative weakness. It was the opening short. It was breaking. If we go back to our levels that I share every day, so ARM, the levels were 1340s and was support. 134.50s was the support. Once that support was broken, it was a good short scalp. Either the rejects or the resistance, that could be a good short as well. And it was a decent short, and it was a morning play. It was not an all day trend play, because remember, the market players need a catalyst to fade all day, right? It's just a big fade, almost $6 fade from the morning. So avoid buying the bottoms. Either you are in first few minutes or you wait patiently, right? So anyways, ARM was short today in the community. All right, let's quickly look at some day 2 setups. U was a day 2. So U was a day 2 short today, right? Right here was the cloud level. There was a pre-market level. We can go back and look at our day 2 sheet. The U was $30.14, and from that $30.14, you got almost $1 short there. So U, beautiful trade. All right, guys, let's look at VKTX day 2. What was VKTX doing on day 2? So VKTX day 2 was simple. I was looking for that push to 100 today. It had, the options were on. They had opened the strikes to 135s. So anyways, when it was pulling back, holding the trend, that was the option scalp you could have taken. I was talking on the voice, and the option did go from 3.5 all the way to 100% basically. Nothing much but special. It's but just a decent move. Lot of good news on it. Lot of FOMO. So it runs for a few days before it consolidates. So there was a good opportunity there for a day 2, right? So over the clouds, as I always tell you, day 2 over the clouds, over yesterday's highs, over the pre-market highs, you can scalp it long, and was decent on those 100 calls. All right, let's look at Zoom for day 2. So what was Zoom day 2 doing? What were levels on Zoom day 2? The levels were 66.70 and 67.68, 68.36. And you could see all those levels breaking, right? 68.36, and then there was this level breaking. So Zoom was again a day 2 long, right? So day 2 long. I already gave this, in pre-market, I told everybody to focus on Zoom and you as a day 2. Over under clouds, same rules every day. And I gave the target 70.50 on Zoom, and it was met, and after that it came back. Easy trade, day 2 winners on Zoom and U and VKTX. Let's quickly recap eBay. Let's see what was our plan on eBay. Let's go back and see the market play. The plan on eBay was pretty straightforward. It was bullish to neutral. 46 was support, 46.8 was resistance. So what did it do? 46 resistance breaks, pushes to pre-market high. What is your first target? Always the pre-market high. Then when it's pulling back, I told you can watch the pullbacks, and it pulled back to this cloud. You can have this 460.80 as your stops. Remember, this is a midday 512 pullback, and you could have easily got at least $1 back to those pre-market highs. So there's always a trade. The system is working. Now it's all about your entries. Are you taking good entries or bad entries? That you have to ask yourself. Yes, it was not a perfect setup, because we want to see better trend, but remember, there's always an amateur move and there's always a trend move. So find your risk levels. Bullish trend. All right, guys, let's just talk about Apple and Google a bit. So in the morning, Apple and Google were heavy. They were breaking down our pivots. So my support, Apple had a news that they're not doing electric vehicles anymore. Support pivot was 180, 190. Resistance was 183. I also shared these levels in the level sheet. You could see the support and resistance. All you have to do is watch the support break and you get it bearish. I told everybody Apple is bearish. Do not long, still heavy. And you can do whatever with that information, but that information means you either short or you do not long, right? So it faded, and my target, I told everybody that we should get 180s. They defended 180s again. I don't know how long they would defend 180s, but remember one thing, when a 180 breaks, it's going to fade and it's going to take the market down. But if it bounces from here, if market bounces, then we swing versus this 180 level. It doesn't become cleaner than this, So we watch it, and let's look at Google. So Google, same thing, guys. We wanted to see if it holds 138. There's a weekly 50 EMAs there, but it did not hold. Google was heavy. So that's why I encourage everybody. That's why beauty of my teachings is nobody's getting bagged trying to dip by Google and Apple. No one. If he or she is, then he's probably not listening to me. But I'm sure 90% of people in my community are not getting bagged. And I would love to see you if you guys can share in the comments what you think. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Guys, SPY QQQ was kind of, it was, there was only one trade that I told everybody on the SPY QQQ, although it was a bearish kind of in the morning, but, it was choppy, chopped out, little loss on the bearish side, because, you could scalp to pre-market lows, but that didn't work. So then what I mentioned was, it get bullish. So I told everybody it's turning bullish, and there was a gap. So only trade on SPY this morning was this gap fill trade. After that it was chop. It's hard to trade. Look at this ATR. Its ATR is just it's nothing. It's trading 44% ATR. That's it's not the time for trading at QQQ and SPY. So they were choppy, guys. I can quickly look at the daily chart and see what we are doing here. SPY is still holding, but it's getting very close, very close. There's a gap down there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We can also call it a flag, downtrend line on SPY. We'll see what side it goes on SPY here. Will be interesting to see. And we keep eyes on VIX, guys. So if VIX is over 14, then then we know that we just have to be cautious. I don't know if there's some economic data tomorrow. Okay, there is. Oh yeah. There's initial claims in the morning, so that will impact. So let's see what market does after those job loss claims tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you for watching my video. I do ask you, please comment, good or bad, just comment so that I know you are learning and how are you doing in the community. This is only way for me to see that you're actually improving or you're not, so that I can help you. So please comment. It takes 1 minute. Watch the video. Even if you just comment. Thanks.